So Dr. Gladys McGleary is a physician, and she is 102 years old, and she is still practicing. I wonder, does she take insurance? She is called the mother of holistic medicine. She co-founded the American Holistic Medical Association, and she was the first physician to use acupuncture in the United States. And yes, I said she is 102 years old, and she just released this book, her fifth. She was born in 1921 and graduated from medical school in 1942. It's just, I have to run the dates back because I can't think 102 years back. She was one of the first women physicians, except her mother was also a physician and the first osteopathic physician woman graduate. So she comes from a great legacy of people and things. Gladys' parents were missionary physicians in India. So her mother is a physician in 1913 in India, in a place where women are not respected very highly, but she takes care of people called the Untouchables. The Untouchables is a social institution that legitimizes discrimination, humiliation, and exclusionary activity, and is exploitative of one particular group of people. The name is part of the caste system that actually identifies individual by rank and essentially says you don't move out of it, right? However, these practices are practiced worldwide. There are such groups in India, in Japan, Korea, Tibet, the Romani people of Eastern and Western Europe that are called gypsies, and one would argue in America. Untouchables can be homeless people. It can be people who are addicted. It can be people who are just different. Now, it is believed this caste system of untouchables started at a time in a vegetarian society of the people who slaughtered animals. So there is a justification for it, but there's certainly no justification for the oppression of people. These are marginalized people. And Dr. Gladys is also marginalized. She is a woman, and she is dyslexic. So she has dyslexia. So how do you live an abundant life when you have so many things working against you? How do you live an abundant life when you have so many things against you? Her book is called A Life Well Lived: 6 Secrets for Health and Happiness at Every Age. She talks about she was happy anyway. With all of the problems, she still lived an abundant life. With a laundry list of issues, no matter what you have been through, you can still overcome. The secret to life, though, is figuring out being abundant, to overcome whatever your circumstances and situations. I really wish that we could pray that certain things wouldn't happen. And not everything happens to us, but things do happen to us, and we have to be able to believe that we can overcome. So I am talking about the abundant life, the month of May. I am using the book, The Art of Abundance. Our problem, though, is really not prosperity. Our problem is our lack of consciousness of abundance. A consciousness of abundance. If we just have a consciousness of prosperity, we will measure everything by external issues. We have adopted the collective consciousness that believes in scarcity, that there is not enough, that there is only scarcity in this world. Therefore, you have to get all that you can at any cost. Is that the message that you've received? The collective consciousness tells us this. It is saying that God is not enough and that God will not take care of us. That's what that says. The message is that we need something more than who we are and what we have and our skills and abilities to live an abundant life, and that we do not believe is true. Divine perfection is in each one of us, and even in our imperfection, we are still perfect. We live in a society, though, that tells you that no matter what your skills and your abilities and your qualities and your values, you will not be happy unless you have something else or you join some particular group. Now, the whole message, if you think about it, is rather illogical. It is saying that you are not enough, but you can buy it or you can join it. Is it just that simple? That's what people will say. Peter Diamandis says, it's not about creating a life of luxury, it's about creating a life of possibility. That's where our abundance is in the possibility. It is about taking that which is scarce and spreading it and making it abundant. And if you don't think that you have anything by which to spread abundance, in this world, I suggest you spread love. Because I'm telling you, it seems like there's a lack of it in a lot of places, right? And we can spread love. That is something that we acknowledge and aware of because love is all there is. Everyone can take what is scarce and share it, and it becomes abundant. Think about the biblical story about the young boy with 2 fish and 5 loaves of bread. It is a metaphor that all their needs were met. Now, we don't know what particularly happened. We don't know if people collected food based off of the 2 fish and 5 loaves of bread, or if everybody was just satisfied with a little bit. It doesn't make a difference. The point is they were satisfied. It doesn't make any difference how much you have. It makes a difference at whether or not you are satisfied. This small lunch represents that it can be abundant when it appears to be scarce. An abundant life is a life worth living. That's what we're talking about this morning, a life worth living. And it's a life worth living that comes from a consciousness of abundance. So I would ask you, do you have a consciousness of abundance? Let's see. I didn't hear a lot. We will look at the book, Wisdom from the book, The Art of Abundance, 10 Rules for a Prosperous Life. Now, the author of this book is Dennis Merritt Jones. Dennis Merritt Jones is a long-term science of mind, Centers for Spiritual Living teacher. And so he comes with a lot of wisdom and a lot of experience. Abundance is a principle. It is a law. Remember, there are only 2 things in life. There is only principle and condition. And a condition is subject to change. But a principle does not change. It is a law. And it is abundance, the law of abundance, that creates our prosperity. So what the effect is prosperity. The cause is a consciousness of abundance. Everyone can have a consciousness of abundance. Our needs are met in every aspect of our life, whether it be physical, emotional, financial. All those needs are met with a consciousness of abundance. Now, this is not for you to measure whether or not you are having a consciousness of abundance or not. That's not what this is about. This is just to put life in order, that we don't focus on the lack or the prosperity. We focus on the abundance, and it yields us prosperity. So we're going to start with the first of the 10 rules, and that first rule is this: you cannot earn abundance. It's already yours. As I often say, it is factory installed. You have been given everything you need for an abundant life, but we have to learn to recognize it. Every message out there says that we don't, though. Within life, there is a gift to sustain you, to make abundance possible for you. Everything that was ever created, everything that was ever built, all the impossible things, the fact that I have a computer in my phone that is more powerful than the one on my desktop, was an idea one day. All you need is an idea to live an abundant life. And you have been gifted with the ideas to sustain you. Do we know it? Are we aware of it? It is the principles of abundance, is learning to accept that we have this gift of abundance. An abundant life is our inheritance. It is a gift. We don't earn it. It's already yours if we tap into it. You have been given everything you need for your life. Within life is the gift to sustain you. You are a representation of the one power and the one presence. And because of that, you have life and the life force operating within you. You can overcome and you can live an abundant life. It is a gift. You didn't earn it. It doesn't mean that you're good or you're bad. It just means it's yours. Factory installed. But ask yourself this question. Do you deserve to have a life of abundance? I'm glad you say that. I'm glad, because I'm in the wrong room. We have to recognize that we are good enough to have an abundant life. There is nothing that you have ever done that means that you can't have an abundant life. No matter what someone says to you, that you are lost or forgotten, whatever that is. No, it isn't, because at your essence is all the power of the universe. There is nothing to do for it. It is just recognizing and operating within it. It is impossible to be stingy if you have a consciousness of abundance. When you give, you expect return because you have a consciousness of abundance. You don't sweat it, and even when you do sweat it, you just overcome. The art of abundance changes our engagement with life. You see life as the glass half full, not half empty. We learn to expect things to work, not things to fail. I am often told, you don't ever think you're going to fail at anything, do you? And I go, why would I set myself up to fail? I mean, I'm shooting for the stars. If I may just land on a planet, that's fine. But I'm shooting for the stars because I know it's possible. But I had to learn that. I mean, the thing I think was the most remarkable thing is I could leave my parents, who I was very, very connected with, loved very, very much, at 29 years old and move to another part of the country, and I didn't know anyone. I was smart enough to have a job, though, but I didn't know anyone. But I felt something else was calling me to a whole new life, and that weather in Michigan was killing me, and I moved to Florida. We expect things to work. Do you expect things to work, or are you worried that they will not work? We must recognize, how do we know it will work? It's when we understand that we are not separated from God, that there is only one life. And in that one life, we live and we move and we have our being. God cannot fail. How can you fail? It is only a lesson. You are not out of life because you make a mistake. We learn to expect that we will be successful at what it is. But we must first understand, where is our source? Where is our source of abundance? It comes from spirit. And the desire to be and aware of our oneness with God. It takes some passion for something. That's where your energy is going. Now, some people find this in desperation, like in recovery. They find it in desperation. Some people find it in positive things. People find it in the face of animals or children. Wherever you recognize that there is a higher power in the universe that is designed for you to use and for your good, that's what you need to understand when it comes to abundance. That there is a power for good greater than we are in the universe, and we can use it. We quote Ernest incorrectly all the time. Greater than we are, that we can use. Some find it at the end of their rope. Some find it in pleasure. But you have to find it. But there is one common denominator for each one of these groups, and that is a sincere desire to experience the Spirit that confirms that you are one with God. You have to, it's something you have to experience. There is nothing that I can explain adequately. All I can say is, you know what I'm talking about if you've experienced it. What I have to say, that no matter what you've been through, it's possible to overcome because you have the power. No matter what. I wish there were a different way for me to tell you that if you just take these final 3 steps, that this is all going to work for you the way you want and you will have an abundant life. But I have not read that book yet. The book I have read, though, is that God is the only power in my life. And once I understand it, I have to remind myself of that very frequently, y'all. Because I'll go, I cannot believe I have all this to do. The thing I am asked the most often, how do you work a job that you have and get up and speak on Sunday morning? And I say because of you, actually, because you do a lot of things around here. It's just not all about me, it's about us, right? But I'm here to tell you, no matter how tired I am, Tom will tell you, if it's time to write a sermon, I wake up. It is the most important. That's where my passion, that is where my energies flow. I love an audience. I love people to listen to me. And it's really nice with the people who smile at me at the same time, because I look for you, by the way. But no matter what message I heard when I was growing up, the one thing that I understood, and I'm not particularly sure how I got it, is that I knew God loved me. I knew it. And I knew that the promise is that God would never forsake me or leave me. And so no matter what was going on, I felt I am not on my own. I am not by myself. Now, have I had challenges? Yep. Am I going to tell you about them? Nope. I have had disappointments. I have made mistakes. I have blown it more times than I can count. And no, I'm not going to tell you what I blew. But God has made life for me more than enough. More than enough. I'm fascinated most of the time that the one thing that I want is an audience, and I have it. So you're my prosperity and my manifestation right here, right now. I have worried. I have been stressed out. I have complained. I have thought, God, have I missed you? But all I have to do is remember that God will not leave us or forsake us, because there's only one life here. There's not my life in God's life. There is only one life here. God is always with us because it is in us. So this first rule is our awareness of oneness with the Spirit is how we see life with spiritual eyes. How we see things that really don't go well or don't go wrong or don't go right or exactly as we expect, and see and believe that somehow or another it's going to work together for my good. It's going to work for my good. And sometimes I have to repeat that to myself a lot of times. But the thing is, if I reflect on my life, it has all worked out for good. It has worked for good. And there are things in life that I'm still waiting to work out for good. But I have enough experience to know it to be so. But I don't have guilt and condemnation. That is a part of my personality. What I've done is I try to take our teachings and use it. If I have a thought that doesn't work for me, I replace it with one that does. I even will replace people that don't work for me with one that does. Baby, I'll give you your walking papers. That is so true. But because we believe in scarcity, we create this idea that there is not enough. Now, I have used the same affirmation for weeks, because you know what? I could be as creative as I want to be and give you another affirmation, but have you got that one yet? Have you got that one yet? That you got all that you need? You may need to tell yourself that more than once. Unfortunately, a life with God is not microwave. Honey, it's a slow cooker. And it's on low, okay? Sometimes it takes a long time to get there. But we have to get rid of this idea of scarcity. It is only an illusion. But the idea that we are separated from God is absolutely ridiculous. How can you be separated from the life force that gives you life? How can you do it? It is in this that we live and move and have our very being. It is impossible to be separate from it. Wherever you go, no matter what you do, it's there with you. And be careful of anyone who says that they have the way and know the way for you to get there. Because let me tell you something, you don't need no mediator. There's no mediator needed. All you got to do is turn within, but you've got to be willing to turn within. There is no mediator needed. You don't need me. I'm here to encourage you, but you don't need me. What you need is inside of you. It's not inside of me. What I need is inside of me, okay? There is no human dispenser of grace. Grace and compassion comes factory installed. We read this morning in our sacred reading from Michael Beckwith, and I'm going to remind you again that there is a lie that acts like a virus within the mind of humanity. And the lie is there is not enough good to go around. That there is lack and there is limitation and there's just not enough. But the truth is there is more good than enough at all times, because it is based on the creativity and the ideas that reside within us. Don't ever sacrifice the creative nature and idea. You could be one step away from making me be able to transport from one job to the other without driving there. Figure it out, please, because I would love to not be on the road so much. There is more power, more love, more joy than any of us can totally assume. We cannot, there's more than enough. It is abundant. All of these things come through a mind that is aware of our infinite nature. That's where the key is to understand our infinite nature. There is enough for everyone, as long as we don't hoard it all from everybody else. There's some people believe they just got to have it all. They got to have it all, and they have to take yours to have it. But that's not the way it works. The issue is there's more than enough. But Michael continues, if you believe it and you can see it, then you act from it. You act from it, and it will show up for you. Wishing it is probably not going to get it to show up. You have to move in the direction of what you want. That's what spiritual practice is all about. I wish there was download programming. I'm telling you, okay, God, just download it, but it doesn't come like that. But that's only after I have lived long enough to understand where my abundance comes from. Separation is all about duality. We talk about we are non-dual. But let's talk about what it is to live in duality. Duality is the idea of separation, that there is God and something else. Now, whatever that something else is up to you. But it is a belief there is God and something else. When we can believe that God is all there is, love is all there is, whatever term you want to use, it's the same thing, then you move yourself into a non-dual situation. Then you recognize your oneness, because you have to be one, because there's nothing outside of God. How could it be? The worst outcome, though, of separation is the idea that we individually are not enough, or that we are not good enough. And that is what creates the prison of life. When we get over separation and duality, we experience the abundant life, because it's already within us. By the way, most faith communities will tell you it will work for you after you join us, or you're initiated, or believe what we believe. Honey, if you don't believe what we teach here, shame on you. Because I'm here to tell you, most people ain't going to tell you you're whole, perfect, and complete. And I tell people all the time, how do you hold a group together and you don't have hell? Everybody else is trying to escape hell. I don't even have one. You are here because you want to be, because I hope what you're doing is you're operating out of love and desire, not out of fear. That's fear. When you're just trying to miss hell, you are more than enough if you can accept that you are. It's just the truth. I am alive, and because I am alive, I know that the life force is with me and that God is, because wherever I am, God is. We are consumed, though, with this erroneous belief that abundance comes from something else, that it comes from the government, or that it comes from a job, or that it comes from the lottery, even though I want those 6 digits, from our parents or our children. But here's the point. Have you ever thought about your job may be blessed because you're there? It's time for you to reflect. You are the blessing. Maybe not the only one, okay? But if you are aware, you are the blessing. I want my job blessed, so they bless me. And as long as it survives, as long as I need it, amen. Until the next one shows up that needs it. But you are the blessing. We don't seek the blessing. We are the blessing at all times and in all ways. It's just us. These things, job, families, are only conduits. The source is limitless. We create the limit. And the lack that we believe in creates the prison that we live in. You cannot believe the collective consciousness that says that there is not enough, that we are separated from God, and that you are not enough. It's stronger than us. It has more ability than we do, but we get to use it. When this happens, we get ourselves unstuck from where we're stuck. We could be living an unfulfilled life just simply because we have not learned how to not live in fear, but to live in possibility, living from source, understanding that we are one with God. Prosperity is an effect of the consciousness of abundance, and we will only be abundant by aligning ourselves once we have been given this knowledge. We have to align ourselves. You have to walk in the faith and in the teachings by which you have heard. The principle of prosperity is our faith. That's what moves us through the difficult times. And if faith is a difficult word for you, just your love. Because what you love is where your energy is flowing. That's where your love is, and sometimes it can be not necessarily a healthy thing. But if it's channeled in a necessary healthy place, think about the return. It's all about love. Faith, the word sometimes is difficult. Where is this power for me to do this? No, just love. Just think about love. If you love it, your energy flows in that direction, and where you concentrate and you focus, that's what you will manifest in your life. All changes in our lives come from new knowledge and spiritual practice. Spiritual practice is always the case because we have been practicing failure for years. Now we have to practice success. We transform our minds by doing it. Why? What practice do we do for the abundant life? Mindfulness. Because only in mindfulness are you in the present moment. At every other time, you are either in the past or the future. But in this present moment, I am in the abundance of this room with wonderful people and ideas. And there are trees all over the place, and there's grass all over. There's all kinds of abundance. That's how the universe works. If we don't believe we deserve it, we are working against it. That's the duality that gets us all in trouble, and we become bound to this experience. Now, Dr. Gladys gives us a little bit of advice. If you want to live the happy life, find your juice. Find your juice. Have you found your juice? Have you found the thing where your life force is focused, where your love flows, where your energy flows? It is in the context of people. It's also in things that we do that energize us. It doesn't take the energy away. Some people